Good day and welcome to our channel. For today's video, we have a game from FIDE World Junior Chess Championship under 20. And in this video, we're going to look into a game from round 9. This is a game between international master Daniel Quizon from Philippines against international master Artyom Strybuk from Russia. Well, let's get right into it and let's see what happened to their game. So in this game, Kison playing white opens up with e4. We have c5, knight c3, knight c6, and now knight to e2. So it's a close Sicilian defense that we have here. So after knight e2, we have d6, and now d4 right away. So basically trying to control on the center. We have capture, knight takes d4, knight to f6. We have bishop g5 first, intending to ruin the pawn structure here on the king side. So after bishop g5, we have e6 only, and now queen to d2. We have a6, and then castle queen side. So on a Sicilian opening, whenever it's like an opposite castle, most likely, and most of the time, this is actually a fighting game because in this particular position, most of the time, black will try to castle here on the king side. So here we have bishop to e7 only, and now f4. We have bishop d7, simple developing move, and now knight to f3. Probably the idea behind knight f3 is you don't want to, have this exchange early on the game like knight takes d4. So we have knight f3, and now we have b5. So black basically strikes first on the queen side. So after b5, we have e5 now. So Kison actually decided to basically break in the middle of the board. So we have b4. So um, he actually decided to basically counter also for black. So basically here, white is about to capture the knight. However, this pawn on b4 is threatening to capture the knight on c3. So we have capture now on f6 and now recapture. We have queen takes c3 and now capture on f6, allowing this pawn structures, which is not really looking good if you're gonna take a look. So basically, it's very hard for black to, castle here on the king side, and of course, castling on the queen side is not really that good. So we have bishop to h bar only, just want to prevent the capture here on g5, and now we have rook to g8. So putting pressure on this pawn on g2, and now we have king to b1 only. It's like a waiting move, and then we have rook to um, b8. So basically, if you're gonna take a look at the position, black is actually trying to control most of the semi-open file here. So we have bishop to d3, not the best continuation as per computer evaluation. Actually, the suggestion is to go h3. After h3, then queen to a5, and then we can go like queen takes a5, but it's like exchanging the queen, so we're gonna be heading to like an endgame early. So here we have bishop d3 only, so threatening to capture the pawn on h7. So after bishop d3, we have d5 only, and now a3. We have a5. As for computer evaluation, not the best option here. The suggestion is to go rook g4. So it's gonna put pressure here on f4, as well as this bishop on h4. But anyway, we have a5, and now rook to e1. So basically, the idea is to centralize both rooks, because right now, as you can see, the king's still in the middle of the board. So it is always best to place your rooks on the middle in this kind of setup. So here we have a4, and now bishop to f1. So that's the idea. That's why you played rook to e1, to prevent the capture here on g2. So we have queen to a5 now, challenging the queen here on c3. And right now, we don't have much good square for the queen, because the only option for you is to basically go d3, e3, queen d2. But of course, you're going to be retreating your queen, so it's like a waste of move. So here, he decided to play rook to e3 only, defending the queen on c3. So we have capture, and now rook takes c3. And if you're going to evaluate the position, this is actually pretty equal when it comes to material. Position of the king, I don't think it matters in this position, because right now we don't have queens. The only, advantage probably for white is because of this several isolated pawns. So we have f5 only, and now capture. King takes e7, and now rook to e3, with the idea of rook takes d5. Of course, you won't be able to capture. But here we have rook to b7 only, allowing the capture on d5. But the idea is to play rook to b8, because right now you won't be able to depend the pawn on b2, because if you're gonna push it, then it will be just simply capture. So in this position, Quizon decided to just simply play king to c1. So we have capture now on b2, and now bishop to c4 is a simple developing move, because there's actually a threat of playing rook to b1, winning the bishop if it's actually still on f1. So here we have check on b1, and now king to d2. We have rook to a1, putting pressure on this pawn on a3. At the same time, there's actually a possibility of moving the other rook here on b1. This is going to put pressure here on the king. So we have rook takes f5. Of course, you won't be able to capture still, because still it's pinned. So now rook to b1. But let's go back a bit here. The suggestion is to just play rook to d8. Well, after rook d8, we can go like rook to h5, but there will be like bishop to e8, and then we're just gonna play bishop d3. So basically, white will be in a depending position if that's gonna happen. So here we have rook to b1, but now we have bishop to e2. Just wanna depend the check here on d1. So we have rook to a2 only, putting pressure on this pawn on c2. At the same time, is actually putting pressure also on this pawn on a3, because there's a possibility of moving to a1, even here on b2. So we have rook to c5 only, and now rook to b3. And right now you won't be able to capture because it's pinned. So we have rook to c3 only, and now knight to a5. So right now, slowly or gradually, black is actually making progress. So here we have knight to e5 only, guarding the pawn or the square on c4, as well as putting pressure on this bishop on d7, because there will be an option to play rook to c7. So here we have bishop to e8, and now rook to c5. So attacking the knight on a5. So we have capture on e3, recapture on e3, and now rook takes e3 with a check. So we have bishop to d3 now, trying to blockade the check, as well as putting pressure on this pawn on h7. So we have f6, which is actually not the best move in the position. Here, the suggestion is to go knight to c6. So after knight c6, knight takes c6. That's an option, but we will have king to d6, winning the piece again on that position. But let's see what's gonna happen. Say for example, so here, let's say for example, knight c6, and now we will have capture. But after that, we'll have this king to d6, attacking the knight and the rook. So he's gonna win back the material. Well, let's go back. So after bishop d3, we have f6, and now we have rook takes a5, f takes e5, f takes e5, and now bishop to g6. And now, if we're going to take a look at the position, it is actually white who has the advantage. It's actually one pawn up. At the same time, the rook is actually behind the pawn, so we don't have to worry about the pawn on a4 yet. And if you're going to take a look at this pawn on e5, this is actually doing really well because it's actually guarding this f6 and d6 square. So here we have a check, pushing back the king again. So right now the king is actually cut off. He won't be able to go up in this position. So here we have king to e5, but let's go back here. In this position, the recommendation is to go g4 and maybe h4. We're gonna try to basically attack this bishop on g6. But anyway, king to d4 is not that bad. We have rook to a2. Let's see. In this position, the recommendation is to just capture. Bishop takes d3, c takes d3, and then after that h5. He's gonna put pressure on these two pawns. But anyway, we have rook to a2, and now king to c5. We have capture, recapture. Rook takes g2. So this is actually the interesting part already because most of the time, if it's actually a rook ending, it looks like it is always a draw. But it depends on how good is your knowledge on rook and pawn endings, and of course it depends on the position because you need to be like really accurate when trying to win this kind of endgame. So we have rook takes g2, and now we have capture. Rook to d2, an excellent move because aside from putting pressure on this pawn on d3, he is actually intending to play a3 as well. So we have d4 only, but now a3. We have h3, and now rook to d3, an excellent move again, putting pressure on this pawn on h3. So you won't be able to move the rook in this direction because if you're going to move, then it will be just simply capture here on h3. So we have h4 now, but we have a check, and now king to b4, attacking both. So you really need to move the rook in this position. So we have rook to h3, again putting pressure on this pawn on h4. But now we have rook to a7. Now this pawn is actually under attack. So here we have capture only. And now if you're going to take a look at the position, white is actually putting pressure on this pawn on a3. At the same time, there's actually a possibility of this king to move forward. And the main difference here is this cutoff of the king. This is actually the main problem for black in this position. So we have king c5, and now rook to h3, still depending the pawn on a3. We have d5 now, so capture, and now we have e6. So basically, Quizon don't want to waste any time because basically in this position you can still just capture, but he decided to move forward first. And basically this pawn on d5, this will serve as a shield because the king can go to d6. So we have d4 now, but now we have king to d6 with the idea of playing e7, and then later on he will try to promote the pawn. But now we have rook to e3, excellent move, trying to guard this pawn also on e6. So we have a check first, and now king to g8. We have rook to f2, still trying to cut off the king, but in this position now, or in this particular file on f file. So we have d3 only, but the problem here is, as you can see, these two pawns is actually guarded by this rook, so it's not. These pawns are not going anywhere. So we have e7 now. So basically, only one move, and it will promote into a queen. So we have rook to d3, which is actually a blunder or a mistake. In this position, he can still hold, but the suggestion is to go king g7. After king g7, then king d7, and then we'll go king g6, and now we'll promote into a queen. So we have capture, king takes e8, but still this is actually a draw, because the idea here is you're gonna play a2. After a2 here, you're gonna try to put a stop here by playing rook to f1, but after rook f1, we're still gonna promote this into a queen, and then if capture, and then we're gonna move to king f5, king f7, but now king e4, so king f6, but after king f6, d2, and you will be forced to basically exchange the rook as well in this position. But let's go back. So in this position, he plays rook e4. This is actually the mistake on the game. But now here we will have king d7, and now rook d4 with a check. We have king e6, and now rook e4 with a check, king f6. Rook e3 now, still trying to stop the pawn. But now we have this excellent move, rook g2. Again, trying to cut off the king a little further on the center, because it will be forced to go to the edge of the board. So we'll have king h7. After that, we'll have king f7 now, and now rook to f3. We have king e6, and now rook e3 again. King d7. Now we just have one move, and it's very hard to basically stop that pawn. We have a2 now, but now after a2, we have rook takes a2. We have king g6, and now rook to f2, and this is actually the part wherein black actually resign. It is because there's actually no hope now here for black in this position, because if we're going to continue, we can go king to h5, but after rook g2, that's possible, or even promoting this into a queen. So capture, recapture. But the problem here is the king is actually cut up, and we can easily just play rook to d2, winning this pawn, and it should be completely winning for white, because we have like a rook up. So that's actually our game for today. Quizon is actually on his way on becoming a GM. I think he's just trying to complete his requirements. Congratulations to him. But there's actually a really good game, and basically a really good end game that we can always study. Well, thank you for watching, and please consider subscribing. You have a great day. Bye bye now.